everybody, and welcome back to the WTF1 podcast, Singapore Grand Prix edition. Yes, we are here once again. Welcome, everybody. Sit down. We've got a lot to discuss, a lot to talk about. And joining me, as you will see on YouTube, if you are watching on there, and if you're watching on audio platforms, hi. Welcome to your ears. We have Tom Bellingham, the WTF1 founder, and Katie Fairman, the WTF1 editor. How are we both? Good? You well? How's things?
Spiffing, thanks.
Spiffing? I wouldn't be spiffing. My favourite driver.
Very like an amateur, yeah.
Already?
Straight into it.
Damn. I haven't got any milk, which is
What?
important because I can't have a cup of tea, which is normally tradition with this podcast. So, yeah.
I thought that was going to be a
He needs some
really
milk.
old Lando Norris reference or something there.
Oh, no.
I haven't got no milk. Lando's going to be sad. Right. We're joined by Team WTF1 Live.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello. We're on YouTube live. If you are part of Team WTF1, you can watch this podcast live on a Monday. If not, you have to wait a little while longer. So apologies for that, but it's perks. You know what I mean? We've also got the WTF1 Clubhouse launching again next year. The amazing camping experience at Silverstone for the British Grand Prix next year. WTF1.com/clubhouse. They are actually selling ridiculously fast, mainly because our pricing is unbelievable compared to if you want to spend £2,500 on staying in a hotel 10 miles away. That's just British Grand Prix vibes. So go check it out if you want to come camp with us. This podcast also is once again sponsored by Elgato, our season-long partners, and making us sound almost like professionals with all this amazing equipment. So big shout out to them. And also, final shout out before we get
One
into
more.
is the fact that we do a shout out for someone that gives a lovely 5-star review. And this one is from eSauceDough360 from the USA. And they said, I owe you an apology. God.
Good stuff.
That's scary. I've known WTF1 on Insta for a couple of years, but only this season did I start to listen to podcasts. Where have I been? Your podcast keeps me going at work. Postman in California. Oh, lovely. And I love everything about this podcast. It's truly 3 friends, debatable, who love F1 and have great chemistry and banter. Keep the podcasts coming. I love it all. Thank you, eSauceDough360. Much appreciated. That's very kind. But yeah, very big stretch on the friends thing. But anyway, we I hate Tommy. But I liked Tommy up until the end of Australian Grand Prix, and then he just became unbearable. 3-word race reviews then. Let's get into it. This is from fans, not from us. Vas_Politis, Minister of Defence. Elissa.LWT, chaotic yet boring. Wyatt_Jar, FIA rant incoming. Vagelis.xnd, boring but intense. Okay, bit the same as the list there. And Smell Monas, worst best race.
Similar vibes, a lot of them, yeah.
Yeah. What a strange Grand Prix. What a weird one. Even
I saw you
now,
said it in IBR as well. That
you watched it?
I did. Yeah.
In. Oh God.
Perfect
Definitely
summary.
It was even now. I haven't decided whether I enjoyed it or not. I was like, the first half of that race was some of the most boring action I've ever seen in Grand Prix racing. And then everyone just decided to start crashing, but it didn't really change the outcome of who was going to win, which maybe is the reason why some people still found it a little bit dull.
Yeah, we'll go in early and say you were right about Singapore, Matt. It's
Thank you.
A very frustrating track to watch. Every corner when you can get close enough, it's kind of like, even though it's nothing like Paul Ricard in its layout, it reminds me in the fact that every time there's a good bit of track where you can get close, it would be like the worst corner to possibly follow through or like have a, be able to make an overtaking move. So
none of the straights are long enough.
No,
like the DRS zones, whoop-de-doo, but they're such a short straight. And even then, like, they're not hard hairpins. They're maybe like 90-degree right-hander in the middle sector, which, again, they take a reasonable amount of speed into because it's quite a lot of it. Width on the exit, so it allows for drivers to take a bit more speed in. You just can't outbrake, really. Into turn 1, you can't outbrake someone there because it tightens really quickly. They can still take a reasonable amount of speed in. So yeah, Singapore's washed, I tell you, honestly, and was.
I mean, it was yesterday, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
nice
very
one, Katie.
washed.
Hey.
Very
one.
washed indeed. So, Katie, I know your 3-word review, race review. Well, we 3-word
little remix
review,
there.
isn't about the rain. What is it about?
Surprise, surprise. Mine is about Sergio Perez because us Checo chariot fans, which
Perez
is what we're
penny
going to
farthing
be.
was out.
Chariot.
Yeah, we're definitely going to make that a thing. He won the race, which was awesome. So my 3-word race review is Checo answers critics. He had his own sort of little Bottas to whom it may concern FU moment in the media pen, or no, press conference, sorry, after all of that. Saying the win is super special to me because I've had a bit of a rough patch in the last few races, which is true. You know, he got a 6th place finish in Monza, 5th place in the Netherlands, which Max won both of those races. And then went on to say the media in F1 makes it a lot bigger, maybe because I'm Mexican. And if I'm not 2 races in a row on the podium, then I'm having the worst season ever and Red Bull should drop me. And then basically carrying on with this like never give up, woohoo kind of mentality. And yeah, it was a stunning race from him yesterday. So it's nice to see he's got some confidence back. And yeah, everybody's talking about what a sensational job he did, apart from maybe the little safety car slip up that he had that he was penalized for after the race. But generally, I think probably the best race of his career.
Swept that one. No, Katie, come on. You can't call yourself a Checo fan and then say that Sakir 2020 is not his best race of his. What do you mean?
Yeah, no,
he was
no.
last in a Racing Point. Tommy reminded me of it, and I was like, absolutely.
Oh yeah, this is true.
It's probably the first race he's won where he's not kind of inherited a win through misfortune, but the fact that he won in a Racing Point from last is still his best win.
Okay, yeah, I take that back. Just pretend that last thing I said didn't happen.
Okay, we'll edit it out, definitely.
Horner said the same, didn't he? It's definitely his best Red Bull win.
Like people on
doubt about
commentary,
that.
like Channel 4, I listened back to that yesterday. They were all saying it, but yeah, people clearly like the whole 2020 season is just a bit of a blur.
Yeah, definitely. Again, like Saudi could have been probably a very, very good win for him had it worked out, because he was really quick there as well. But yes, Sergio was great this weekend. Absolutely, he stuck it on the front row of the grid. He beat Leclerc off the line, although it definitely looked like the off the racing line was the place to start. But that basically signed, sealed, delivered the race. And I think he also, just because he was amazing in Singapore doesn't mean that he wasn't. It wasn't right for him to be under fire for his performances of late, because they weren't good enough. When you think of the standard he'd kind of set at the start of the season, and then tailing off to such a degree where he was nowhere near Max, like absolutely night and day difference. But to come back, and I think that's the difference, is that Sergio Perez, he has had slumps, but when the opportunity has arisen, he's taken it with both hands. And I think Singapore, he had a momentous amount of pressure on him from Leclerc the entire race, pretty much. Around Singapore, in conditions that were so tricky, we saw so many drivers make mistakes. Hamilton made a mistake. Verstappen made mistakes. The fact Checo, after all that pressure, he's got all that media stuff probably on his shoulders, and to have performed at that level, he was absolutely brilliant this weekend. So he has answered his critics in the sense that he hasn't lost it. And we'll see what he's like in Japan. But it just seems like the street circuits are the ones where Sergio really can make the most of the package that he's got.
Yeah, it's wild to think that street tracks, all 3 of his Red Bull wins have come at street tracks. So Baku, Monaco, Singapore, and then he got the pole at Saudi as well.
Yeah, could argue Saudi should have been his.
Yeah, so bit of a street circuit specialist. And yeah, he was brilliant. It was a great race from him, qualified well, perfect start to get the lead. And then, resisted the pressure, which was a lot of pressure throughout the whole race. Because you saw, like Matt said, people making mistakes that you don't normally see make mistakes. So the fact that he managed to do that, and then even to, we'll get into maybe the controversy of this, but the fact that he managed to pull that gap at the end when he thought he needed to, and turns out he did need it, was great as well. So yeah, what a drive.
Absolutely. I've got a question from Raish. If Leclerc had a better start, would he be able to stop Checo, or was he just too strong today? I think, yes, Leclerc could have definitely won the race had he beaten Checo off the line and taken turn one. We saw how, taking turn one first, I think we saw how difficult it was to overtake, and maybe Red Bull would have done them on strategy. Probably it's Ferrari, and Leclerc did lock up in his pits during his pit stop, to be fair, and that cost him maybe 2.5 seconds. So maybe that's where the lead would have changed hands. But we also saw how difficult it was for Verstappen to make his way through the pack. So track position was everything today. And if Ferrari maybe would have played it slightly differently had they been leading the race. But then it's if, shoulda, woulda, coulda, all that good stuff, all very hypothetical. But yeah, Ferrari definitely would have had a much better chance around here than any other track of keeping the Red Bulls behind.
Exactly. I think it's track position is just crucial in places like this. Ferrari had looked strong all weekend. Obviously, Leclerc managed to get that pole position, and they've top practice sessions and stuff like that. But yeah, just echoing what you said, Matt. It could well have been a Leclerc victory had he had come out of the first turn in the lead.
Yeah, same as you guys. The start was the most crucial bit because of how hard it was to overtake. Particularly the second you went offline, you're in all sorts of trouble. So, yeah, Leclerc might have done it, but then Checo, just did everything he needed to do to make sure he had no chance.
Fair play, lad. Well done.
Well done.
Okay, well done, Checo. Yeah, great job. Everyone should have the right to express themselves freely. Sadly, the big tech monopoly has instead opted for silencing tactics and censorship. To fight back against big tech's control of the internet, I use Expressvpn. Ever wondered how free-to-access tech giants make all their money? Well, by tracking your searches, video history, and everything you click on, by building a profile on you and then selling off your sensitive data. When you use the Expressvpn app on your computer or phone, the software hides your IP address from third parties. That makes your activity more difficult for companies to trace and sell to advertisers. And it helps keep your online presence more anonymous. What's more, Expressvpn encrypts 100% of your network data to protect you from eavesdroppers and cyber criminals. That's why Expressvpn is rated #1 by CNET, Wired, TechRadar, and countless others. So let's stop allowing big tech to revoke our rights to free speech. Why not revoke their right to your data instead? Secure your internet with the VPN I trust for online protection. Visit expressvpn.com/WTF1. That's expressvpn.com/WTF1 to get 3 extra months free with our exclusive link. expressvpn.com/WTF1. Great job. Right, now, so it's my 3-word race review now. And mine is around decide penalties quicker. Please, for the love of God. Or just decide penalties now if we're talking about during the race. We've actually got a video coming out, which, to be fair, if you're watching this on a Tuesday or listening to it on a Tuesday, it would already be out on YouTube right now. But it's around this whole debacle of the FIA getting everyone, every family and their dogs to come in and have a chat about what's gone on during the race, get everyone's opinion. It's like going to court, and it's not good for the sport. It's not good for the entertainment factor, because when Sergio Perez came over the line, you want to be happy for him, which obviously you were, but at the same time, you're thinking he might not have won the race. We don't know. He's got this investigation looming over him, which shouldn't happen. I just don't understand why they went ahead and investigated after the race, because what they were measuring is 10 car lengths behind a safety car and whether he's exceeded that or not exceeded that. And yeah, they had to speak to both parties because it's part of the thing. Just get rid of that. The whole process is dated and not right, because I say in the video about the fact that Formula One's in a boom period. Lots of more people are taking up the sport and enjoying it and sitting down. But as soon as they start to watch races where you actually don't know who to be happy for because you don't know who's won until 2.5, 3 hours after the race, that kills a lot of the enjoyment, because Checo winning is such a big moment for him, for Red Bull, for the fact that he's kind of come back as this underdog kind of thing after the slump that he's had. To then not know what the FIA are going to do is just rubbish, in my opinion. And also, we were robbed of a really, really tense last few laps, because if the FIA had got their act together and given him a 5-second penalty, because they just look at the data they have in front of them, they don't have to speak to Sergio and go, Sergio, did you do that? And he goes, no. And then they go, okay, thanks so much. We'll carry on with our investigation now. Just make the decision, go, okay, he has broken this rule. Deal with it. Okay. But the thing is, they didn't. And we didn't know they had that 5-second penalty. And I remember watching Leclerc behind Checo. It was like 4.3, 4.5, 4.7. Oh my God. Does he have 5 seconds? Does he have 10? Is he going to be disqualified from the whole championship? We don't know.
Mate, this is the FIA rank crown. I'm giving it to you.
Give it to me. We've been robbed. We were robbed of a Lando Norris versus Lewis Hamilton Austria 2020 moment, where that was awesome. And of course, Lando did overthrow Hamilton for the podium, and that was mega. But I remember how awesome that whole few laps were. Can he do it? And again, it was teetering at 5 seconds for a little while. And I'm like, oh, obviously it didn't end up that way, but that's the excitement and the entertainment that we missed out on.
Yeah, agreed. I don't understand why they can't just make a decision when there was still such a long time left as well. It makes no sense. If there's 2 minutes to go, 3, 4, 5 minutes, then fine, even 10 minutes. But when you've got all that time to still decide it, why you need to, like you say, get Checo to do it. In football, when someone does a bad tackle, you don't bring all the managers and all the players on the pitch and say, oh, did you do this? Did you do that? No, they make a decision and that's what you get, because you break the rules or you don't. And I can't believe that. Well, I can believe it because it's the FIA, and it seems F1 has always seemed to have been this way. It feels, but I can't believe they couldn't just decide it there and then. I know every incident in Formula One is different, but why? What changes for them to make a decision after the race or there? They're doing their job. If they don't have to do it at the end, they can go home and enjoy themselves in Singapore more. So why would you want to do it later?
Well, you posed the question, Tommy, and a big question within the community is,
what are they
were
doing?
they scared to change the result of the race?
Yes, they were, because I'm about to read the statement, and
the statement's a madness.
The statement is an absolute joke, by the way.
Yeah.
So it says, although the track was wet in parts, we do not accept. Remember that bit, that the conditions were such as to make it impossible or dangerous for Perez to maintain the required less than 10 car length gaps. So bear in mind, we've just said we do not accept.
Because that's what they were arguing, right? That's what Perez and Red Bull were arguing, is that it was wet or whatever. Yeah.
So in their own statement, they said they do not accept it. And then in the very next sentence, they say, nevertheless, we took into account the wet conditions and the difficulties highlighted. What? I'm sorry. Like, you just contradicted your own statement. It's baffling. Yeah.
And also, whilst we're on the note of that, I think we should just read out probably the what was actually kind of said by the stewards, because
go for it.
So car 11 was the lead car on lap 36 during the second safety car period in the race. It was admitted that while the lights of the safety car were still on, Perez failed to keep within 10 car lengths of the safety car between turn 13 and turn 14. This occurred notwithstanding the fact that the race director had issued a warning to the team that Perez was not respecting the less than 10 car lengths regulation between turns 9 and 10. The team passed that warning on to Perez. We refer to Doc 56, by which we imposed a reprimand on Perez for a breach of the same regulation during the first safety car deployment during the race. So Perez broke the rules 3 times, and they gave a reprimand, then they gave him a warning, and then they gave him a penalty. Now, I want Perez.
Tell me you don't want to change the
race.
Result without telling me you don't want to change the result. By the way.
I am more than happy that Perez won the race. Genuinely, I did not want to see him overthrown over a technicality or whatever, because he did an amazing job. However,
nevertheless,
I take into account the fact that what the hell are the stewards doing?
Yeah,
it's mad. Right? like to think Formula One is one of the fastest sports, yet they're so slow when it comes to making decisions. Like, it's just baffling. Looking at the documents yesterday, I know that it was a night race and it was delayed, which we might go into later. But the final document, which said, will Checo keep his win or not, was issued at 1:35 in the morning in Singapore. I mean, that's crazy. I know they're working on a slightly European time zone over there, so it's not quite the same as if that were to happen at like Silverstone, for example, and you've got journalists still in the media center at 1 a.m. But it's still crazy. I mean, watching the Sky coverage, you've got the whole podium, still no answer. The chatty bit, no answer. Media pen, still no answer. Ted's notebook, still no answer. Like, it shouldn't be that people are paying for a pricey membership. I know it's not Sky's fault, but you know, people are paying for these packages to watch what's happened in the race and what the result's going to be. And then it ends and we still have no idea if he's going to keep his win or not. Like, it's so daft. I know that, like you say, Matt, that they want to speak to the driver and they want to speak to a team representative just so they have the full case that they can put together. But with things like this, it's black and it's white. Like, it's, you've broken the rule or you haven't broken the rule. I can understand them wanting to speak to a driver, perhaps if there's like a single wave yellow or a double wave yellow and the driver says, oh, I don't know, something, there was something on my visor which meant that it was blurred and I couldn't see it, and you can't get that from you know, a T-cam or whatever. But for things like this, you break the rules or you don't break the rules, and he broke the rules. And like the last, well, I think it happened maybe to Giovinazzi, somebody mentioned in a few years ago, but another like notable thing of this being broken was Sebastian Vettel back in 2010, I think it was, for the, I want to say, Hungarian Grand Prix, and he was given a drive-through penalty for that in the race. So yeah, it's all about that consistency word, isn't it? Which has now come back to bite them after we haven't mentioned it in a few races, at least.
Yes. Yeah, what a shame. I would argue that I don't think there's many incidents that they need to speak to anyone about. If they genuinely have, if the argument is, we don't have all the data, get the data. Put something in put something in place. Because where, and I put this in the video. Sorry if you've already watched the video. Where is this VAR like thing that they promised to have?
Read the next question.
Team WTF1 member Jackson96 comes in with, what happened to the VAR style setup the FIA promised at the start of the year? Surely an independent team of people providing input to the stewards based on live data, replays, and the written rules is better than waiting to speak with the driver after the race. Exactly. Thank you, Jaxie96. My burner account, clearly. That's exactly the question that I posed in the video as well, is where is this thing that they promised after Abu Dhabi, where they don't have all these problems and they have an external people that can look at all the angles and all this sort of stuff? Because that should be the only information, like that is factual stuff that they're looking at. They're looking at data. They're looking at onboards. As soon as they start talking to Christian Horner or Toto Wolff or Mattia Binotto, they're really gonna Christian Horner's like, actually, Sergio Perez did. Yeah,
he actually did it 5 times. You actually missed 2.
Yeah.
You know,
and that was the whole. That was the whole argument about Abu Dhabi, was the fact that team principal and everyone shouldn't be able to influence the decision. So why do you need to talk to them? Because all they're going to do is then it basically becomes who's got the best lawyer or who's the best talking, rather than what have you broken the rules or not. That's what it should be.
And I hate to use football as an example, but you don't see, a player goes to argue to the referee and the referee just books the player and tells them to jog on. Like, it's their decision. It's not the player. It's not the manager. So, yeah, I don't know what happened to it, Jaxie96, because I haven't heard anything of it. Maybe it is this mysterious entity that is actually working seamlessly well and they're just ignoring it. I don't know, but it just doesn't make any sense to me, because these sorts of things it's all about entertainment at the end of the day. It's a sport, but it is also about fans watching what's going on and enjoying it and being satisfied come the end of the race. If they have all these pernickety, rubbish things in place, these old school Formula One rules in place forever, then it's just going to keep happening. you know.
Mm-hmm.
Good. All right. Is that all right? Are we good? We ranted. We're happy. Should we move on?
You
Tommy
got it
looks
off
like
your
he's-
chest. Sure.
I'm not sure. Maybe.
deep
And
breaths.
people are like, "Oh, you're only complaining because Leclerc was the one to benefit." No,
Oh, God,
the
yeah,
championship's
people.
I'm so done with that. That if it was 3 points between Verstappen and Leclerc, I'd be like, "Well, come on!" Like this is a bit of a. But I'm not actually complaining so much about these warnings or whatever. I'm sure they're within the rulings. It's more the fact of making that decision and ruining the entertainment of the end of that race. That's my problem.
We complained about Leclerc as well after Saudi Arabia this year when he kept looking like he was going over the pit lane line, and then also set one of the fastest laps on was it near the last lap of the race when there were yellow flags out and stuff. Like we've complained about Leclerc, we complained about every driver when the FIA
We are a complainy podcast.
We
this
are
is what
a
we are.
bunch of moaners, clearly.
Actually, to be fair, speaking of complaining about things happening, it's probably worth mentioning now before we move on around what happened with Verstappen passing Norris under the
just
virtual
disappeared,
safety
didn't it?
car. And I saw a streamer called Yaroslav Honzik. He questioned why they use a certain type of virtual safety car. I have to find the tweet, but essentially where they do it in sectors where you have to be a certain time of sector rather than just a limiter.
Yeah, because they were
speed.
speeding up, weren't they?
Yeah,
Behind the virtual,
they
it's
were
still
full
virtual
speed, and
Yeah.
it was virtual safety car. That's like something you see in the F1 game where you see it counting down like 3, 2, and you're like, go, sort of thing. This is supposed to be a hazardous environment,
Mm.
and they're going full speed. Norris then brakes because he's misjudged it, and I'm surprised that we didn't hear anything about that, did we?
No. Not a
Cool.
sausage.
Good chat. All right. Well, Tommy doesn't want to talk about it because it's about Verstappen getting a penalty.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah. But true, it's true. It's these decisions again. Formula One now, I feel like either because they've put all these rules to make it more entertaining, there's a lot more going on in the races, and this has been the problem with TV direction, but it also goes down to the stewarding as well. And if it takes more people, get more people in there because there's a lot going on. It's very different to football, I guess, in the sense the one thing you can argue is in football, the main thing is all happening around the ball, right? Whereas Formula One, you've got people all over the circuit, you've got loads of different drivers, loads of things are going on. Get more people involved then to make the decision. So, yeah, it's silly.
Spend some money is basically what we're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, Tommy, what's your 3-word race review, my friend?
Mine is races better dry. And this is a bit of maybe more of a Hot Takes Wednesday kind of statement.
Yeah.
But
if you don't know what Hot Takes Wednesday is, we live stream on Twitch, WTF1 Official, where we have hot takes on Wednesday, surprisingly, usually around 6 p.m. And we get loads of fan submitted hot takes. And apparently Tommy has one right now. So here we go.
Here we go. Yeah. Even not that many years ago, and I've been watching F1 for a very long time, the wet races were the ones where they were really exciting. As soon as there was a bit of drizzle, like everyone's losing their mind, going, "Oh my God, yes, woo, wet race, this is the best thing ever." Mainly because Formula One was in an era where it's really hard to overtake, almost impossible to overtake, especially when there was no DRS, and it was all done in the pits. And the wet races were the ones where you actually got more passing, there's more mistakes, there's more excitement. And I'd argue that Formula One now has got so good with the rules that they've implemented in terms of making the cars better to follow. DRS isn't perfect by any means, but it's done wonders for the sport in terms of allowing people to pass. And actually, the dry races, in my opinion, that race in particular would have been a lot better in the dry because you'd have had, Leclerc would have been able to put more pressure on Perez and potentially make a move. Hamilton, the same with Sainz, Verstappen coming through the field. But the wet part of the race was actually painful to watch. It was dull. No one wanted to go offline to pass. The tires were fine. No DRS. Even when it had dried out, it was just frustrating because they couldn't get close. And I know some of the nature of that is Singapore and it's difficult to pass. But I think it's becoming a trend where actually the the wet races tend to be a bit boring now because there's not really a lot going on. The last one I can think of being actually really good was Germany 2019, and that was because it was bucketing it down in absolute chaos and it rained during the race.
And
But
they had
in
an
terms
ice
of
rink where everyone was
yeah,
going wide.
exactly. But in terms of thinking about actual races, things like even like, you know, like Turkey, when it was, oh yeah, it's a wet race at Turkey, everyone just had to stay online and it was just a bit painful to watch. So yeah, it's a shame, but it's not a shame actually, because if it doesn't rain very much. So I'd much rather it be this way around. But yeah, just a thought.
I have to agree. Yeah, the first half was dreadful. I think it's mainly because the track wasn't drying. You know, that was the thing, is that a lot of the drivers realized that this was going to be a long old stint. So they didn't want to push. They didn't want to allow their intermediates to wear too much because they had to extend the stint. I think Norris was told, we want to go further than everyone else on the intermediates. And they did. And it worked out an absolute treat because they got a safety car. But they were just very much in management mode. There was no point. I mean, a wet race around Singapore as well is probably the worst thing you can possibly have, because it's hard enough anyway to overtake. But with having no DRS, with having the thought of wanting to keep your tyres in a good operating window, there was no reason for Leclerc to go on a massive attack of Perez, because you've got Verstappen stuck behind Vettel for however many laps or whatever. Or Alonso.
Yeah, he couldn't even get past Alonso, could he?
Yeah, and he was probably 2 seconds a lap easily quicker than Alonso, but couldn't get past. So it just meant that everyone who didn't really, there was no particular pace differentials of plus 2 seconds between two drivers on a track. So we didn't see any overtakes. And if anything, we saw loads of drivers just spread out, and they all were just in their own little time trial race until it dried. So I think Singapore wet races, with the humidity and the fact the track wouldn't dry out, was a recipe for disaster. And look, I'll hold my hands up and say, you know, I was a bit mad that the race didn't start an hour sooner and they delayed it. But I think it would have been even more it would have been a worse race.
I think it would have been,
had we started straight away. Maybe we would have got a bit more chaos at the start because it would have been a bit wetter. But we may well not have seen that dry period. We would have had an even smaller dry window. So yeah, it's Singapore does not work well with because wet to dry, that's what we want, not wet to kind of wet. Oh no, it's still kind of wet. No, let's stay on the intermediates. Okay, now we go on. No, not yet. No, Russell, no, you've gone too early. Okay, now go on the dry. Doesn't work.
You could be describing Turkish Grand Prix there from a few years ago. But yeah, I think it's a shame because wet races, like growing up watching Formula One, like Tommy sort of alluded to, wet races always normally meant absolute chaos. And so when you see it's raining, you get all excited, slightly nervous, thinking, oh my goodness, there could be like a moment at turn one. We might lose a few cars. Like this is going to be really crazy. And then yesterday, like thankfully, everybody got off cleanly. Like there was no first lap safety car, which we've seen a lot over the last few Singapore Grand Prix. And yeah, it was kind of just a lot of really unfortunate circumstances kind of bundled into one, like you say, the fact that the track wasn't drying quickly, the fact that everyone sort of went on the same tire, that everyone went on the intermediates, we didn't have any DRS, like all of these things that sort of bundled up and created quite a dull first part to the race. But things did get more exciting. Mistakes were made, you know, with the way that Singapore is. It's the most challenging circuit on the calendar for the drivers, at least, with the humidity and the heat and, you know, the toll that it puts on them. So mistakes were eventually made, but, you know, you shouldn't really have to rely on Alex Albon biffing into a wall and losing his front wing to create a bit of drama. Like, there should be other parts of the track that should be able to help create that excitement. So yeah, just unfortunate, but hey ho.
Can't win them all.
We go to Japan next, so hopefully that'll be better.
Yeah, definitely going to be dry. I've seen the weather. It looks like it could be raining again.
Yeah. Hopefully no cancelled sessions and things, because
we'll have to see the predictions as to see whether or not that's something that Katie wanted. Right, so question from Twoland: should DRS be allowed sooner? Yes, absolutely yes.
Like, yeah, I don't see why it wasn't.
It was it was dry enough where they just couldn't go onto wets because it was a little bit slippery. But yes.
Yeah, they said it's wet enough. Like, if the drivers want to risk it and go on the wet stuff, then let them do that.
Yeah. I know that there's, again, it was like Imola, wasn't it? Where they just never wanted to turn on DRS. But the thing is,
another wet dry race that was really frustrating and boring. Yeah.
Yeah, I can understand that they put safety first and whatnot, but it did again feel like it should have been allowed sooner. But hey ho, I don't think it would have saved the race, because how soon we probably needed DRS, they definitely were never going to do. But yeah, it's something. Every time we have these wet races, we realise, God, Formula One really does rely on DRS,
and is really good now. It sounds like we're moaning a lot, but it also does show that actually the dry weather racing is actually better, I would argue now. And that's a good thing.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
To end on a positive.
Positive. We like Formula One. There you go.
Yeah, promise we do like it.
Do you think it should have been allowed sooner, Katie? I don't know if I got your on that or not.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, good. Just wanted to make sure that you tapped in there.
Yeah.
Team WTF1 member, E-flat major. Why does Formula One still have full wet tyres if not to use them in this kind of setting? The start procedure was delayed even though the track was drivable on full wets and drying fast. What's the point of full wet tyres if races are delayed so we don't see wet action anyway? Well, look, all I'm going to say is if you ever feel useless in this world, just remember the wet tyres exist. Okay? Like, those poor little blue round tyres get shipped off to every Grand Prix thinking, they look up at the sky and they go, maybe today. And then the FIA go, no. And it's such a shame. Yeah, get back in the garage. No, go, keep going. It's such a shame. Again, it's safety over whatever, but it is a shame because those cars can definitely function better or function in those conditions, in worse conditions even than what they were putting them out. But I don't think it was necessarily they were delaying because they thought it was too wet. It was more the fact that they wanted their whole procedure. They wanted their grid stuff and the celebs to come out.
On the grid.
Yeah. So I think they just wanted the full process. Whether that was the right decision, the F1 bigwigs are the ones that will make that. And as we say, I don't think it would have changed the race too much. It is a shame because it is exciting when it's really wet and they're tested to their full capabilities. But we'd never really see that anymore, and it's a shame.
And then you would have had the transition between the wet tire, maybe inters and then to dry, or even not to dry, but at least it's something. Whereas, the inters, if you get that period where they could just drive around on them all day. So, it's a shame, but it is a common trend now that we just seem to see happening. I did see Ted Kravitz say one thing actually about the start procedure, that the way part of the reason they delayed it as well is because it meant that and do the whole proper thing is because the poor mechanics would have had to have stood on the grid in all the thunder and lightning and the heavy rainstorm to set up and all that kind of stuff. So I do get it from that side, but it probably could have been started a bit sooner. They probably didn't need an hour. Yeah, it was an hour 15, wasn't it? The actual delay. Well, when they announced, when it was going to happen.
Oh yeah, because the race should have started at 1 and they started the formation at 2:05.
Yeah.
So
Now, I shared a tweet during that time when my whole timeline were people like, this is a joke, I hate F1. And I was like, well, actually, the start procedure, I think it needs that full hour. Yes, we might not necessarily need to have will.i.am on the grid. You could bin that bit off of Martin's grid walk. But generally, like for safety and making sure that the mechanics had time and, getting the car set up, like every single Grand Prix that we go to, they have that full hour. They know that routine off by heart. Okay, well, in 2 minutes I have to do this. In 5 minutes I've got to make sure that's there and ready for this or whatever. If we suddenly said, okay, lads, you've got half an hour, get ready, go, until the formation lap, it's going to cause mass hysteria, mass panic. Probably incidents are going to happen in the pit lane with everybody rushing around. So allowing the full hour might have seemed an unpopular opinion at the time, but I still stick by that was the right thing. It's just frustrating, but at least you weren't sat in a grandstand in Singapore. So, can watch it from the comfort of our own homes, which I'm very fortunate to do. But yeah, in terms of the full wets, I agree. It was frustrating, but hopefully they'll get their moment. Maybe if there's some rain mid-race or something, they're not just, you don't just get rain at the beginning of a race. It can sometimes come during the middle or towards the end of a Grand Prix. So they'll get their day, but
but the problem is when we get to sort of wet tire territory, the red flag, it is a bit pointless. But that is another element. The what we were missing is that strategy really until they went to the dries. But as Tommy says,
if they had gone for sorry.
That's right.
I was going to say, if they had gone for the full wet tires, like there's going to be so much spray, and you can just guarantee that there'd be an accident at a circuit like Singapore, where you can't see where you're going because there's so much spray. Somebody will clip someone else, end up in a wall, take many cars out. Like there's still a safety thing. Although it'd be great to watch and a great spectacle in theory, I think it would have only been a matter of turns before we had a big crash because of the weather conditions.
We have to remember that Latifi's in the race. He couldn't see in his mirrors when it wasn't raining. So
that's true. It's true.
But yeah, it's not exactly factually inaccurate, is it? But anyway, question. Foster Garland 1. Why do the pole sitters not automatically get the inside line in every circuit? I understand there is tradition behind the grid setup, but I feel that at a lot of circuits, the pole sitter is at a disadvantage. No, because if they're on the inside line, that's off the racing line. And if it's not raining, then that's going to be slower than if they're on the racing line. So traditionally, they will be always on the racing line, won't they, as pole position? So yeah, it didn't work for this particular moment, but you have to imagine most races are dry. So usually the pole sitter will get an advantage. That's how I see it. But because of the fact that it was wet and the racing line is more slippery when wet, because all the rubber that's laid down gets all squirrely. I don't know, technical term, whatever.
You love the phrase squirrely in the watch on, by the way.
I do love a squirrel. But yeah, then offline, it's a bit grippy, as we saw, especially in the second phase of that start. It looked like Leclerc was fine, and then Perez just hit a Mario Kart boost and was in the lead at turn 1. So I don't particularly agree with this one, because usually they do have the advantage.
No, quite an interesting stat from this actually is that Perez is the first Singapore Grand Prix winner to start from an even numbered grid slot, because he started second and took the lead from there, which kind of like if people are trying to get up in Perez's grill, is that a phrase?
It is, yeah.
Cool. Then he was actually the anomaly in all of this. So he did well.
Wait, sorry. What are you trying to get at here? People are getting up in Perez's grill.
If people are trying to say, oh well, Perez was always going to do better because he was in that position. He's the first person ever to win from that side
because
of the
it was wet.
But
yeah.
But it's still relevant. It's still a relevant stat.
It was.
It's still relevant. God.
Yeah, the fact that it's quite unusual. Normally, that grippy line you want to start on there, but it did show that the other side was better, because Perez, Sainz and Lando all moved up a position and leapfrogged the cars that were on the right. The only guy that didn't was Verstappen, but we'll get into that.
Absolutely washed. Hey,
he was very, very washed.
Nels Bells _1. Where could have Max finished if he hadn't spun? I need to cough.
P4, maybe. P3, maybe. Wouldn't have got past Leclerc and Perez with how hard it was to overtake.
Sorry, just quickly.
Yes.
Right. This is not the first time that someone on the left-hand side in Singapore gets an amazing start. Do you remember the crash, the 2 Ferraris and the Red Bull? Sebastian Vettel got an absolute launch McGee from 4th on the grid, wasn't it?
Was it?
I think it was, yeah. I'm watching the video right now. Yeah, you've got... yeah, that would have been 4th. It would have been 4th on the grid.
And it was wet.
Yeah, and it was wet. Of course, with...
It's all part of the master plan.
No, sorry, that was Raikkonen. That was Raikkonen, actually, that got the worldie. Yeah, Raikkonen from 4th on the grid. Anyway, that was just a point, because I thought, that was from the inside as well.
It's relevant.
Relevant information. But yes, where could have Max finished if he hadn't spun? Spun? Do you mean go off?
Yeah,
Spin, did he?
Into this little escape road.
He just locked up.
spun doing a spin turn.
Yeah, but
that
it
was
didn't spin, did it?
No, it
that
didn't.
was a yeah. But his mistake, where could he have finished? Probably
third or fourth. But
Yeah,
Sainz would have been. I think Sainz would have been a big ask for him to pass.
I don't think he would have passed him. Yeah,
maybe DRS with how Sainz's pace was, but he couldn't. DRS.
Where was he at the
an
time?
advantage.
He was behind
Lando, so he was fifth. So he would have passed Lando and got fourth, and then
he would have finished
gone
fourth.
after Sainz.
He'd have finished fourth.
Yeah, I think third was a big out. Definitely not anywhere near Leclerc and Perez, because it's just the way that the track was. It was, well, you saw many people, even the most experienced, Hamilton and Verstappen. What happens when you go offline? You just instant fail. You kind of had to do what Verstappen did on the final lap against Vettel, where you just breeze past in the DRS and then you can actually just take the line and you've already got past them and you can brake on the normal stuff, because otherwise you're just going straight off.
Indeed. Where do you think?
I would agree. Third or fourth. I think probably fourth.
Yeah. Sainz was slow. It's not to say that Max didn't have the pace over Sainz, because he absolutely did. It's just the fact that you needed a huge amount of pace and hard to pass as well. The Breezy King won. Where are the conspiracies and tinfoil hats for AlphaTauri? They literally helped McLaren. Oh yes, that's
this is slightly
Tommy. You made of course. Well, I should hope it's fully tongue in cheek, because I have no idea why they would try and help McLaren.
You never know on F1 Twitter.
You never know.
Didn't Nick de Vries used to somehow? I think Nick de Vries used to be part of the McLaren Driver Academy, and now there's talk that he could go to AlphaTauri. So technically, the links are linking. So there we go.
The links are linking.
Daniel Ricciardo is going to AlphaTauri according to Katie.
No, shut up. That was one thing I added for Hot Take Wednesdays ages ago. I've now come to the decision that he's never going to be an F1 again, so I don't want to talk about it.
It's probably the most likely, unfortunately. Yes. Tommy, you came up with a very good point during the watch along that we were doing live on Twitch, WTF1 official, where you were saying, well, you tell us.
So when Yuki crashed, Verstappen had just pitted and literally just pitted. And if he'd have stayed out for an extra lap and then Yuki had gone into the wall, he would have got a massive advantage. He'd have leapfrogged. It probably got to... Well, he'd definitely have got up into fourth ahead of the McLarens. Pushing Sainz, probably not Sainz, but imagine the conspiracy theories then, because it would have been Tsunoda again, which of course is what happened in Zandvoort. And it does just, I mean, this just shows that people crash. It's not always a conspiracy theory.
Yeah, it just happens.
It just happens.
Yeah.
Shame for Yuki. I mean, he was on the outskirts of the points, was in that 12th or something at the time. And what did you want to say anything about that, Tommy? I know you're a big Yuki fan. You need to defend your boy.
I can't. It's just another mistake, isn't it? It's annoying. And AlphaTauri, it did help McLaren massively. It also helped Aston Martin, who have jumped up to 7th in the constructors' title, and AlphaTauri are now 9th, which is savage.
They're
behind Aston Martin.
Yeah. Yeah, Aston Martin.
Because Aston's had a great,
and they're on the same as Haas, but with worse results. So AlphaTauri now 9th in the constructors. I couldn't believe that when I saw it. I know they've had a stinker of a year, but them finishing 9th would be absolute.
Do you reckon with their tailing off of performance, Red Bull just decide, you know what, AlphaTauri, we're going to sell you?
I thought you're going to be like, get more wind tunnel time and use it for Red Bull. Yeah, maybe.
Potentially.
No.
Right. Tommy, do you have the jingle?
I do. What's up, y'all? My name is Pepper from Mississippi, USA. I've been loving the new jingles. I'm sure this one won't be everyone's cup of tea, but y'all have had a little bit of everything so far. Love the show. Keep it up. Thanks once again for doing the show, and thanks for reading my email. Here we go. This is some pop punk ABCDF1.
Okay, I'm keen.
ABCDEF1, rate drivers when the race is done. Charles, Max, Lewis, Esteban, Lando, George, Lance, Yuki's son.
Big fan of that.
I
Very
like
good.
a bit of pop punk. That's very good.
Great.
Very good. Well done,
Very
Pepper.
Blink-182.
Very good.
I like it.
Oh yeah, Tommy loves a bit of that with his guitar and.
Oh yeah, it makes me want to get
Yeah, you
the
can-
guitar.
You need
out.
to make a jingle and submit it soon, Tommy.
Should do, shouldn't I?
Thank you, Pepper. Cool. Right, ABCDF1 time. Let's do this. This could be a very interesting episode where we rate some drivers some quite horrendous grades.
Hmm.
Lock yourselves in. It's just opinions. Here we go. Let's start with Lewis Hamilton.
D.
Do you say B or D? I'm going with D. Yeah, D.
D. Yeah.
D. Okay, D. Good. 34.9% voted C. 32.3% voted D. And 20.3% voted B. 20% of you voted B.
I know. How?
Something's
Yeah,
else
that
for
was
How?
one of, dare I say, one of Hamilton's
Oh.
worst races in years. He's known for not making mistakes, and he made one a very big mistake when he went
Which
off.
he was very
completely
lucky
very
as
lucky
well.
to carry on. And then the one with Vettel where he also then
on the wet
went down
patch.
further. I can't believe I actually asked Katie to put the percentages in because I was curious to know what it was like, because I can't believe the fans gave him C, but there we are.
Yep, C for Hamilton and a D from us. George Russell, E.
F. F.
Ooh. Yeah, I think I'll go for an E. At least he was the first to take the gamble on the slicks. Maybe not the right decision.
That had such. Oh, he does like Nutella though, Vi.
No.
Yeah. At least he got on the.
At least he had a
tried,
pit
at
stop
least
and
he
put some dries
tried.
on.
drives
Yeah.
on and then crashed into everyone.
Awful
and
weekend
was a bit of
from
a-
George Russell.
Oh no, he did crash into a lot of people, didn't he?
He crashed
Yeah,
into
thing with
Mick.
Bottas, Mick.
Yeah, Mick, and then was like, "What's Mick doing?" After he drove into him.
Yeah, and it was. I wasn't a fan
Yeah.
of his team radio where he said, "Oh, what's Mick doing? Like, it's like he's driving for his
Yeah.
life, crikey, or
Entitled
whatever."
much.
And it was like,
Crikey.
So
George.
someone forgot he was in a Williams last year.
and someone also forgot
Mm.
that Mick is literally fighting for
Fighting
his
for a seat.
career, whereas
Yeah.
George has a seat. Like that's the difference there.
True.
Yeah, didn't enjoy that, but I'm still going to give him an E. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, I'll stick with my E.
Okay.
Yeah.
E from us and a D from the fans. What is going on? How is that a
Fans are too
D?
nice.
Yeah.
I've
Gosh.
influenced them too much and being too nice. And now the fans are doing it as well.
Maybe. So a
Sorry.
D from the fans and an E from us. Max Verstappen. I'm going to go with a D.
Yeah, D.
Yeah. It's,
You're
D,
going to be okay,
definitely.
Tommy.
Had a poor start. Made the mistake by locking up. Said he bottomed out. I'm also convinced there was a bit of water on his tyres as well.
Yeah.
And the reason why he locked
Nearly
up there.
went into the back of Lando Norris.
Yeah, had that VSC thing, which was sketchy to say the least.
I still think as well in qualifying that while it was the team's fault for running out of fuel, he could have done. I'm surprised the lap before. I guess the team. I don't know if the team told him to back
The
off.
team told him
before.
to abort that before.
The lap before, fair enough. So yeah, it was a mistake by them. But yeah, it felt like Verstappen's when we said Verstappen never has a day off, he got all his mistakes done in one weekend and still finished 7th somehow, despite being last with about 10 minutes to go.
Yeah, he was
It
like
shows the pace
12
of,
seconds off the back of like 12th place, I think,
yeah,
when he pitted for softs.
a
so he
fully
was very
dry
quick.
race. It would have been interesting to see how far he'd have come through. But 7th place, a wild stat as well, is that Verstappen's finished 7th more times than 2nd and 3rd this year, which is absolutely insane. So yeah,
Because he's had 11 wins.
11 wins, 2
One-
7ths, 2 DNFs, 1 2nd, 1 3rd.
That's
What a weird season.
Quite a stat, isn't it?
Hmm.
Okay, so a D from us and a C from the fans. Surprisingly, 32% went with a B, 38% went with a C, and 17% went with a D. So clearly a bit controversial what we've gone for, but thanks for voting all the same. Sergio Perez, A star.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes, Queen.
I'm off. Checo.
Yeah, simple A star. Fended off Leclerc beautifully, did what he needed to do, drove away at the end as well, which was
Oh,
very
that was
impressive.
Insane.
And
Gap he made.
yeah, the gap he pulled was seriously impressive, and without that, he would have lost the race. So yeah, A star, and an A star from the fans as well. Charles Leclerc, A.
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah.
I
go
thought
for
he was
an
going to
A.
crash about 300 times. Every time I watched him, he was squirrely. And I did that for you, Tommy. Didn't even facially.
Yeah, he literally didn't even
react.
acknowledge it. He was just.
Tommy's just like, I'm so sick
used
of
to
that
it.
word.
I know, I've just heard it so many times on the watch along as well.
Is this what I'm doing to you, Tommy? You're just becoming numb to the things I say. But yeah, Leclerc, I was convinced it was going to be another Imola where he pushed a little bit too hard and end up in the wall. But thankfully he didn't, and fair play. It was
decent drive
within his limits. So yeah,
lost win though, I'd say.
Yeah, it's a shame.
But still
not much he could have really done off the start.
No.
If you look at the other starts, like even Sainz, how he launched off from fourth, I think it was.
Yeah.
So yeah, A from us and an A from the fans. Carlos Sainz, C.
He just wasn't on Leclerc's pace at all.
He was so slow.
It was
sorry.
so
it was
far
painful. It was basically him finishing third because of the advantage of being in a top car and everyone else falling off the road.
We were kind of discussing on the watch line, weren't we? If Perez and Leclerc came together, that would be an even worse victory than Silverstone. Like, I'm not trying to be horrible, but Sainz was so slow.
He admitted it himself. He said
second a lap slower.
Yeah, in his social post afterwards, he said, like, I had no pace.
Yeah,
so he's admitting it himself.
Yeah, and that's fair. Doesn't help with the grade, but he said his front tires couldn't get in with the inters, and yeah, he was just very, very slow. So I'm going to give him a C.
Yeah, I think it's a C. It's almost a B, but
I'm going to go for a B. I'll be the nice one. I'll go for a B. But yeah, he was like, when you had the safety cars and things like that, obviously the field gets bunched up again. And then literally as soon as the safety car finishes, the gap just gets bigger and bigger and bigger again. I mean, he was battling with Lando Norris at one point. I thought it
looked like Norris was actually going to overtake him.
That's the thing. That's why I'm giving him a C, is that without the characteristics of the track, he's not finishing third. Like Hamilton would have got past on him much quicker. Lando as well would have passed in terms of actual just pace difference.
He was in terms of pace, he was probably the slowest of the top drivers, if you like, in terms of like lap time pace. Just wasn't there. So yeah, it's a shame because I thought Sainz would be getting the hang of the car now, and he's shown flashes of like being better in the last few races, but still not quite there. And that was a good opportunity. Yeah.
Difficult conditions and wasn't able to capitalize. Lando, so but yeah, B from C from us and a B from the fans. Lando Norris, A.
A star. I think, A star.
He did finish fourth. Yeah, maybe it is an A star.
Because of the safety car, it gained one position.
But he managed to make the Inters last, so he could stay out longer.
He only stayed out one lap longer. And kind of, to be fair though, McLaren put that in their own hands. They probably made the decision, right? Everyone's going on dries. Someone might bin it. We'll carry on, and it worked out a treat for them. But yeah, I think it's an A. I don't think it's an A star.
Lando's a victim of his own sort of midfield brilliance in terms of just the fact that was kind of like it's all right, but he just did everything he possibly could. But it's I guess the reality is you want to save A stars for when he gets a podium, which is basically impossible this year.
He so nearly had all the signs, didn't he? So is it an A star for you, Tommy?
It is, but it doesn't matter.
And Katie, you're going for an A?
Yeah, I really am.
It's close.
I want to give the next person a really good grade, but I don't know. I'll go for an A star. We'll go nice. That's good vibes. Woo,
you're going for an A star only so you can
because you want to give Danny Rick a better grade.
Yeah, 100%. I see.
We all know your tactic.
I am so transparent.
An A star from us and an A from the fans. Daniel Ricciardo, B.
Are you joking?
No,
sorry. If I'm giving Sainz a C, Danny Rick was
on the soft tyres.
I'd say he's lucky
to
get
him off with the strategy. Why would they put him on softs? Everyone else was on mediums. Why put him on the softs?
Not everyone. Bottas, I believe, was on soft tyres.
Oh, and where did he come?
Yeah, but Bottas is in an actual kindergarten trial.
Yeah, but why would they put him on the softs? Why?
Softs
What
for the
was
warm up.
point?
Yeah, for the warm up of the tire. I can see why maybe they didn't have a fresh set of mediums. I'm not sure. Maybe Danny Rick had locked up in free practice, and I don't know. But if I'm giving Sainz a C for the fact that he was so far off the pace of his teammate, Danny Rick was also like I watched this interview with Danny Rick and Lando. I think it was an F1 TV, and they were kind of joking around, and they were like, "Oh, what a lovely video!" But I felt like Lando was kind of mocking Danny Rick because he was going, "Oh,
yeah, finally
you were
actually
behind
done
me."
something. Yeah,
And then it was, "Oh, now you're not," or something. Don't quote me on that, but I've just found that a little bit sort of, "Oh, Danny, you're actually with me," sort of thing. But then ended up over half a minute behind. So yeah, it's going to be a B.
Well, I'm going for an A. Do you know what? I'm almost tempted to do an A star, but I know that I would be maybe a bit of Ricardo bias. But he got put on the softs. He went from P16 to P5, his best results since Saudi Arabia 2021. I know everybody goes, "Oh, well, he only got there because half the cars in front of him broke." Shut up, okay? I'm taking it.
To be fair, he didn't bin it.
There's a great comment from you and Thomas in the chat. It says Daniel was told to hold off and not overtake. Left a big gap, didn't he?
To be fair, he may well have never been told to push
please.
after that. So, it seems harsh, but he gained a huge amount from that safety car as well. It's difficult how you measure it. Can I give him an A? Oh, screw it. I'll give him an A because I don't think he's going to get another A this year.
Okay.
But then that means I have to give Lando an A star. I have to give Norris an A star then. So I'm changing it doesn't matter. But yeah, Norris A star and Ricardo an A. Yeah. Okay. Are we giving?
I'll still B from me, but if you guys go for A's, then he's.
I just feel like look at Katie and how happy she is. I can't not give an A. So even though she said A star, and I was like, okay, right now we're getting a little bit out of hand. Okay, A from us. A from us, and an A from the fans. Fernando Alonso, A.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Broke down, was doing really, really well. Don't know how the fans have gone for a B. That is absolutely disgraceful. Voting from everyone involved. Sorry, thank you for getting involved, but also disgraceful.
Should we see
he was driving brilliantly.
Like
wasn't he? He was driving brilliantly. A from us. Are we going with that A?
More people on the votes gave Alonso a C than an A.
Do people not realize that when you don't just look at the result at the end and go, yeah, anyone that finishes in the top gets an A, midfield a B, DNF a C.
Alonso was flying. Did a great job.
To be fair, the start of the race was terrible. Maybe a lot of people fell asleep.
True. And then they saw he just DNF. Was like, B.
Yeah.
Okay, A from us and a B from the fans. Esteban Ocon had a terrible qualifying.
Yeah.
Then his car broke as well. Where was he when he broke down? You should know, Katie. Esty Bestie, come on.
I don't know.
Ah.
Sorry. Straight up, don't know.
He was he was up to 13th.
C. D. It's a D. Qualifying was. Did you say he had a problem?
No, C. Yeah, C just.
His engine blew up in quite spectacular fashion.
It did.
And then once again, I don't know if there's like a chock shortage or something, but you could see the car was rolling back, which also made me feel quite uncomfortable because the cars were still coming around that corner pretty quickly and Esteban still sat in his car, and then he's got to sort of jump out of it while it's still rolling backwards. So
there must have been a problem where he couldn't engage gear or something because he was just sat in neutral and then just had to roll backwards. So yeah, I guess he just tried to.
I don't know what's going on there with the marshals.
I guess he couldn't. Yeah.
What?
But yeah, I'll go for a C.
What a bottle job for Alpine, by the way.
I know.
Huge turn in the championship. McLaren now
Massive.
4th. Imagine if I get away with it and don't have to.
Oh no! Yeah, you put your bet.
I know. That's
Could happen.
The bet, for those wondering, is that Tommy said he would buy merch for whichever team replaced the top 4. So obviously Ferrari, Mercedes, McLaren, and Red Bull. And Alpine were there for a little while, and now they're not because they bottled it.
They're literally racing one McLaren, and they're still screwing it up.
But then the other McLaren actually got some points this time.
It did.
Lovely stuff. Okay, so a D, was it from us?
C.
I went for a C.
C?
Yeah.
C from us, sorry, and a C from the fans. Pierre Gasly. He was running very, very well, then believed his team screwed him over, was not particularly mincing his words on the team radio after the race, and was
Tell
saying,
me
"You
you're
let
not
me
staying
down."
at that team next
Yeah.
year without telling me you're not
Yeah.
staying at that team.
I'm going to give him a B.
Yeah, B.
Yeah, he got
What
points.
could have been?
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
go for a B.
B from us and a B from the fans. Yuki Tsunoda, E.
Yeah. If I'm giving drivers a D that crashed and then kept going and going straight into the wall and retiring, yes. Oh, Yuki. At least you got a C now.
I feel like we need to make that a soundboard, that thing, because I swear you say it pretty much every weekend.
Oh,
Yuki, E.
Yeah, no.
Oh, 2 laps down at Hungary. Oh, Yuki.
It's classic Yuki. It's going to be a B or an E every time, isn't it? Yeah.
And somehow it's got a C next year, so woohoo! Yeah, I'll go for an E, I think.
Okay, E from us and a D from the fans. Sebastian Vettel.
Oh, love that man. Sorry.
What a start.
A.
What a start.
His start.
His start was
my word.
amazing. Yeah.
Watch the video of it.
Yeah.
It's superb.
He has not lost it. A.
No.
A.
Okay, A from us and an A from the fans. Lance Stroll, A star.
Yeah. I think
okay.
I'm going to go for an A star.
I think Vettel was quicker and he was fortunate, but he needed a bit of fortune to jump him in the race, but
sixth in an Aston Martin.
Yeah, go on then.
When Vettel did that last year in Monaco,
when's he going to get it?
Yeah, we went for A star, so I'll go for A star.
Yeah.
Come on, Lance. Wicked race.
He was actually looking like he genuinely enjoyed Formula One, which was quite surprising.
He was actually really happy and chirpy in the media
pen. He had more than 5 words. It was impressive. So, A star from us and an A from the fans. Nicholas Latifi, F.
Yeah, sorry. This is the one grade that when I do the sheet and copy it over, I don't remove his grade. I just leave it from the last one.
Because we know it's probably
time.
going to be an F.
Yeah.
What's he doing? Like poor Zhou Guan Yu. I mean, it's obviously you don't want to be racing Latifi at any time if you're anyone else on the grid, but when you are, you need to make sure he sees you.
Yeah. Not good.
So
F for Latifi.
Does love Nutella though, and an F from the fans.
Do you think he'll do a special Nutella helmet before he goes?
I hope he does for you.
It'll just
look
for
like, me.
It'll just like poo though, won't it?
Oh,
it'll just look like a poo helmet.
Well, no, because it'll be the Nutella in the jar. It won't just be a brown helmet.
So you reckon he'd do a Nutella jar helmet?
I would. I think that'd be cool.
I think he should.
This is one saving
Nutella would have
thing.
to pay about 10 million for it, probably. But
oh yeah, it's sponsored. He could maybe do a design that's not using the exact logo. I'll send him a DM and see what he says.
A really cool quote that just goes, "He does love Nutella though."
Live, laugh, Nutella.
Live, laugh, Nutella. Oh dear. Sorry, Latifi, but
sorry.
Time to go. Albon.
Oh, Alex.
Yeah,
I want to give him an A star just because he's got back behind the wheel and was doing really well until that moment. But unfortunately,
in terms of driving,
I will get shot if I do that for a pity vote. You guys will come after me, so I'll go for a C.
Do you remember he crashed in the wall and ended his race?
Yeah, and he also spun at the beginning. Yeah, I remember that.
And you give me a C?
He has been unwell.
Yeah, I know he's been unwell. You just said you're not giving him a B vote. We're talking about the racing here, Katie.
Screw the racing. No, okay. I'll go for a D. You've bullied me into a D. I'll go for a D.
Okay, E.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Okay.
Welcome back, Albon. Really, really glad he is back, but it was not a great performance. E from us and a D from the fans. Valtteri Bottas.
C.
He finished 11th, didn't he, in the end? Yeah. But he had nothing left in the tank. The car's an absolute dog.
Alphas are back to just getting C's, and we just don't see them at all for the whole race. And they just finish start mid-pack and see them.
See. Yeah. Hey. C.
Yeah.
Okay, C from us and a C from the fans. Zhou Guan Yu, C.
C. Justice for the bubble tea helmet.
But then why
brings that back?
Why was he fighting Latifi though?
Bants.
Yeah, there's another bad start.
Is that a D then? I feel like if he's fighting Latifi, it's not gone well, and I think the C maybe is a little bit on the lenient side.
Yeah, qualified Bottas, so.
Then he had a terrible start. Okay, I'm going to go with the D.
These things can happen.
Oh, Tommy's taking
Does
it
love
under
his
his wing.
bubble tea, doesn't
It does.
Yeah. Shut up.
What are you going for, Katie?
Maybe I will go for a D.
Nice. Wow, Tommy's the nice one. Okay, look at his little face. Ooh. Okay, D from us
Tony's
and a
bias.
C from the fans. K-Mag, Magnussen.
Another meatball flag.
Another.
Oh my
that
God.
one,
Can you stop
what are
collecting them? They're not
doing?
Pokemon cards. Like
Why
every
does he
single.
always sends it to. And to be fair, it was a stupid incident as well. He just literally went and squeezed Verstappen.
Why would
Fair
round
play.
the outside of a driver that he's never going to be racing in that race at all?
Hasn't stopped him before with like Lewis and stuff.
Well, that's what I mean. It was Hamilton
Yeah.
the other time, wasn't it?
It's
twice
because on
was it?
the radio
Other
after
times,
as well.
yeah, plural.
On the radio after the race, he was like, the team were almost apologetic for not being able to maximize the performance, sort of thing. Which, if I'm the team, I'm going, well, if you didn't get another black and orange,
Stop crashing
flag.
when you qualify well.
Yeah, literally. So it's going to be a D from me.
Yeah, I think a D is fair.
Tommy?
Yeah.
D.
Yeah.
You have to actually say something.
Very frank
Not
bargain.
nodding for audio platform listeners doesn't really work. Right, yeah, D from us and a C from the fans. Mick Schumacher. Oh, D.
How dare he race?
Yeah, how dare he be on the racing line?
Yeah, C, I think.
C. Okay.
No, I'm going to go for a D.
Okay. Good stuff. Right, D from us and a C from the fans. Okay. Simple predictions. Let's go. Williams out in Q1. Smash that. 19th and 20th. Saw that one coming from a mile off. Thank you very much. 1 point. And I don't know about this one.
I don't either.
There will be a line of commentary about how cool it is to see the driver's eyes.
No.
I feel like there was at least 3 occasions.
If somebody can find a clip of it and then like send it to us, then maybe we can give you a delayed point. I'm happy to see if there was actually one there.
You're worse than the stewards, Katie.
Oh, shut up.
I think it didn't help that it was raining as
I'll
well.
investigate this after the podcast.
To be fair, I don't think we saw that many like that facing cameras anyway. Did we
That's
this
true.
year?
We
Which
saw
was a shame.
Perez.
No,
on
a
his...
little bit in practice, but
Yeah, it's a shame because that's one of the coolest angles I find, like seeing them negotiate Singapore. Maybe it's because it was
Like this.
raining. Maybe it didn't look so great. I don't know. But okay, I'll take the L for that one. Katie.
I said at least 3 special shiny race helmets, which I think we had. We had Hamilton, his was sparkly, Ricciardo's was, and Gasly's was.
I'm going
And
to argue
also Leclerc had a sparkly one, but it wasn't his number one. What are you going to argue? Go on then. I'll fight you.
that you've put special shiny race helmets, and actually they're just shiny race helmets.
No,
because they're not
that's
special
not-
because they're their own usual design. Just
No,
maybe
Yeah.
I meant like a
No,
special
what-
edition.
yeah, but it's the
Yeah,
same
special.
helmet but shiny.
Yeah, it's special edition.
No, we didn't say
Go on, you
edition.
can have the point. I'm
Yeah, it's fine.
I was about to throw hands. And then I said De Vries to replace Latifi, which
Did not happen.
technically, if he gets
Technically-
Williams' seat, because Latifi's sacked, but yeah, no, that's not true.
Nice stretch.
Technically, De Vries
Tommy.
had a better race than Latifi, even though he was not there. Yeah.
It was
Well, look at you go.
Norris wins Formula B, and Vettel makes Q3. Didn't because of
Got
that.
12th, didn't he, or something?
Yeah, that tyre gamble. Damn it. Oh well.
Close.
That's nice. Been a
Right,
while.
1 point for each.
That's a good one.
Well
for the
done.
rest.
The fans, El Clugged. Ferrari have great pace, but Charles will bin it or the engine will lose power. No. Polk U 4863. Podium outside of top 3 teams. No. Reheat MVP. No Red Bull on the podium. No. Okay. Suzuka predictions. Leclerc 10th pole of the year. And Red Bull special livery.
That's a good one.
Katie.
If this one isn't allowed, I can think of another one. But I said another session will be delayed due to weather. Matt's bullying me about this because he's like, you've looked up the weather forecast. I promise you, I haven't looked up the weather.
would
I
also
just know
argue I
it's
wasn't bullying you.
always. Yeah, sorry, I mean, it was a bit hard. You literally made one comment and was like, "Oh, did you look up the weather?" And I said, "No."
You're bullying me.
So if I can't have that because it's too predictable,
No, you can have it.
Yeah, you got that.
Being
Oh, thank
delayed,
you.
you haven't said it's going
Woo.
to rain. You said it's going to be delayed. So
gonna
that's
be delayed.
okay.
Okay. And then I've said that we'll see a fan dressed head to toe as an F1 driver because the Japanese fans are another level. They love to get dressed up in funky hats or fans or whatever it is. So I think we'll see a fan maybe in the grandstands or something like that, dressed head to toe as an F1
What I
driver.
am going to then say to this is that it has to be
Had
head,
to be
to,
head to
toe,
toe.
not head to waist or
Yeah.
head to knee, head to toe. So I'm
If
talking
they're in
The
race
helmet?
helmet,
Shirt.
race
Oh,
overalls.
yeah,
If they're
helmet.
not wearing the race boots, though,
No,
you can't have it.
shut
It's
up.
head to-
You
if they're in a pair of
it's head to
loafers or
toe.
like Nikes, you've
That's
you
really
should know.
rude.
Yeah.
You should know about being specific. You've
I
been very
know.
specific there. I'm sorry. It's got to be
What's
full toe.
head to ankle?
No,
I love
that
the
still
way
includes socks.
I love the way
Oh.
you didn't see that one coming, and me and Matt thought of it straight away. And probably so many people listening to the podcast are like, "Yeah, so it's going to have to be head to toe."
Yeah,
Exactly. It will.
But what
You know how
if
much we
they
scrutinise these
show
points.
someone in the grandstands? We don't know what they're wearing on their feet.
Well, that cannot be confirmed or denied.
Yeah,
then.
so we
Because
need
Oh,
a
the
full.
points
no.
cannot-
Yeah, you need to be
I'm
a
sorry.
full body shot.
wanted-
Yeah.
Look. You wrote it down. No one
Yeah.
else did.
I'm gonna have to find them and ask them to send me a
Take it
picture
to
of their
a fan
feet.
will be wearing a helmet.
That's a different kind of podcast altogether.
Yeah.
Tommy.
Verstappen doesn't take the title in Suzuka.
Ooh.
Championship
Interesting
back on.
thing, yeah, championship back on. Interesting thing about that is Verstappen could win the title by getting the fastest lap point if they want to. That would be terrible. And Mercedes podium.
Okay. Is that
Nice.
because they're quick or because there's carnage?
First
I
one,
can
then
neither
the
confirm
other.
or deny.
Cool.
Yeah.
The fans, Tykangas 30, both Astons out in Q1. Jay Denock, Mick in the points, and Azteca lad, Merck front row. Ooh.
Bold.
like
Spicy. Okay, well, we have cut. You can tell it was a Singapore Grand Prix podcast because it's not an hour and 40 minutes. It was actually a little bit of a quick fire one because what a terrible first half of the race that was. Tommy, final thoughts?
Interesting that the podcast is a short one when the Grand Prix is normally 2 hours. Okay. That's my terrible final thoughts.
Wow. What just happened?
I don't know.
I don't know.
It's a man that's lost the plot.
For someone that's
Why
having their
race
favourite
so
driver win
long
the
when
title.
podcast so short?
That's literally it. Yeah. Katie, anything better to say than what Tommy just said?
Well, I was on TikTok this morning and I
Oh.
saw a video from somebody in the fan village. You know, the drivers come up onto the stage. And I just thought it was quite funny. So I thought I'd share it with you. So it had the two Mercedes guys and the two Alfa Romeo guys. And Lewis was explaining how he still has this naked picture of Bottas of him in the lake with his bum out. Bet you didn't see this coming. He still has it somewhere in his house and he's got to find a place for it. And then they said to Bottas, are you going to one you Zhou one? And he turned around. I really shouldn't have said this story. He turned around and said, I'll basically send him one, but I might be facing the other way round this time. So there we go. There's a nice traumatizing end to the podcast for you.
And again, Katie's TikTok. Like
Oh,
last
come
time you
on.
mentioned, like, oh, I saw a picture of Daniel Ricciardo with his shirt off the other day on my TikTok, and yeah, we all know what
It was actually
Katie's
Carlos
TikTok's
Sainz in an
actually
ice bath.
That was it. Sorry, yeah.
Oh my
But-
days.
I think that one got submitted because it was just a funny fan moment, not because my TikTok is full of thirst traps, I promise.
Sure. And on that note, thank you very much, everybody,
Oh.
for watching and listening. My final thoughts are, wow, it's going to be an early start for the Suzuka Japanese Grand Prix. We can't really complain. Everywhere else in the world, Australians particularly, are going to have a great sort of late afternoon watch.
Hope you
and
enjoy
I
it.
hope you enjoy it because we are going to be the Australian fans for one weekend.
Look at me. I'm the Australian now.
I knew you were going to say that. I just knew I could have put so much money on that happening because Tommy loves that. But yes, so I'm looking forward to it. That should be good. It'll be an early one, so I hope you're all going to come join us and not watch it, on repeat or record or whatever, because we're going to be live on Twitch. All right, WTF1 official. Go follow us, and we will be with you every step of the way for the Japanese Grand Prix. Not every step, actually. No, maybe not FP1.
Are we doing practice? Yeah.
We'll be
Not
from
sure about
head
that.
to toe.
FP1 and FP3, maybe not.
Shut up.
But anyway, thank you,
Oh.
everybody. If you want to find out more about the WTF1 Clubhouse, go to WTF1.com/Clubhouse, where you can camp with us at the British Grand Prix. And also go check out some merch on our shop. I'm wearing a Smooth Operator top today, if you haven't been able to see it, which is shop.WTF1.com. Tom is wearing the WTF1 hoodie, and Katie is not wearing the WTF1 merchandise. So we need to have a stern word with her. And yeah, she may well, this may well be your last podcast. Thank you, Katie.
I would have a mug, but I have no milk, so I can't
That's
make
right.
any tea.
We have Tommy. Right. So thank you, everybody, for watching and listening. Give us
Right.
5 stars. Remember, if you do send us a 5-star review, we may well read it at the start of the next podcast. All right. Lots of love. Take care. Adios. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.